An absolute pleasure to have you here with me. I don't know if, seriously, I don't think you know
Thanks.
the impact, you had on my life. I'm being honest with you, I love you, my brother. But when I say the impact in terms of, when I remember, I liked your play. I mean, I first read your book, Black Passengers, Yellow Cab, which was, to me, it was the male equivalent. It's not, it was the epitome of a man, the Superman. It was a black Superman. So for me,
oh man.
So for me, I'm like, yeah, this guy, I love that
you're
book.
being too kind.
No, I love that book, and I was like, phenomenal stuff. And I got into your other stuff. I got into your play, Doodoo Boy. I love that. I love the play. I love the idea of it so much. I went and saw you in New York. I went and saw you in New York. Don't forget.
Yeah. Yes.
And
yes.
then I saw you in Jamaica.
I was moved by that.
I saw you in Jamaica as well performing that. And I wanted to see you in the UK performing that. Okay. But so let me explain to you.
Yeah, man. I really.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted, so basically for me, when I watched that play, Doodoo Boy, and I saw you doing that one-man performance, it was incredible. For me, it was like, I never knew things like this happened. I didn't know people did one-man plays and were able to memorize, take that much in. And that was one thing that impressed me massively. The other thing was, it was the subject matter. It was what you were talking about. It was your story. You were unearthing this deep darkness, but you were finding a way to deal with it.
Right.
And I'd never seen a black person, a black man, I mean, one of my heroes or whatever, ever do that before. And it allowed me to unlock something in myself. Like, actually, I can do this too. I don't have to be afraid of that feminine side or that side, that emotional side. That was, do you understand me? I think there's a lot of these things with young men that we're afraid of that feminine side, that's able to be honest. I think we assume honesty and emotions as quite feminine, don't we? So that was
vulnerable.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a wonderful word. And so that's what it was for me. So I have an immense respect for you. So to be able to be having this conversation about your new play, not play is a play as well, screenplay and everything else, which you'd like to turn into, absolutely, it's going to be a film. That's the aim. But what was it called before? It was Birdsucker.
It was called Only Begotten.
Only Begotten. But what's the Birdsucker? That's what it's called now.
Well, so originally I wrote this in October 1999.
Wow.
I wrote this in October. I started October the 12th, 1999. No, I started October the 12th, 1998. And I finished the first draft on January 1st, 1999. And then it was called Only Begotten. Had introduced it to some people back then. I was doing the Hollywood thing. I had a voiceover agent, I had a theatrical agent, I had a commercial agent, and I was introducing it to them for them to introduce me to some producers. And the response was, this is too profound. Wow. Can you just niggerize it? Can you make it into a comedy? Can you, can you make it more yo mama, yo, what up, my nigga, blah, blah, blah. So my response was, nah, I'm not going to do that. And it was back in the time when Boys Don't Cry came out that time. Do you remember that movie, Hilary Swank?
No, I don't know. I don't.
And they said,
I know the title, but I don't remember the what happened in the film.
Yeah, it was a film about a girl who wanted to be, she was pre-transsexual. She lived in the body of a girl, or he lived in the body of a girl. So he dated girls. And so when he was found out, they beat him up. And I don't remember if he got killed, but he got beaten many times severely. But anyway, they just said, look, there's one Boys Don't Cry. We can't take another one. We can't take anything as profound as that anymore. Because remember, back in those days, Black people in Hollywood were not allowed to tell serious stories at all. We were not allowed to be profound. We were not allowed to be intellectual. It was just, two can play the game. And what's that film with Bill Bellamy that a friend of mine, or ex-friend of mine, wrote? So this was just flat out rejected. It was like, no, this is just way too much. It's too. So I kept it under my bed, and didn't do anything with it, and I adapted it to a novel, Only Begotten, which I didn't publish. And then I revisited it, and I had it all these years, 2 decades, and I revisited it and retitled it, Birds Took a Lane. And then so I got a director, Arun Vir, in Los Angeles, and we were trying to raise money to make a feature. And then we decided, it was so difficult that we decided to just write a short version of it. And then when the short comes out, the money that we make from the short, we use that to make the feature.
Okay.
So, but it's been around. I started 20 years ago.
Wow. Well, obviously,
over 20 years ago.
We want to get it to fruition. We want to get it to where it needs to be. And that's obviously, again, one of the reasons why I wanted to interview you, so people could kind of find out more about your plans and everything else.
Right.
So anyway, so can you tell us a little bit about the film without giving too much away?
The film is set in Jamaica and the UK, and it's about a gentleman who, his father is a hellfire brimstone preacher, and that character is based on my mom, because the film is inspired by events that I saw growing up. I saw them beating and burning to death 2 gay men, once when I was 9, and once again when I was 11. And I grew up in a church commune, and so the pastor, the father character in this film, is based on my mom. Wow. Fundamentalist, Bible toting. My mother would preach on buses and stuff with me by her side, and so the pastor father walks in on his son on a down low engagement, because the son is married and he has a kid. So the pastor father walks in on his, and so I don't know if you know about the Gulley Queens in Jamaica. I do, yeah, absolutely. No, when I went and saw, in Jamaica at the time, so it wasn't nice view. Right. And so after he's outed by his Christian fundamentalist father, the society, the community turns on him, and he has nowhere to go but among the Gulley Queens. To make a long story short, he escapes Jamaica. He stows away on an airplane, in the wheel well of an airplane. He's so desperate. He thinks he's going to Florida, but he ends up in the UK. He gets his freedom in the UK, gets asylum, et cetera, but he has to go through a lot of pain. And the film ends with don't give away too much. Don't give away too much. Right. Hey, yeah. Hey, come on, man. Yeah. What's going on? It's very dramatic. But we love it, obviously. It's very dramatic. It reminds me, obviously, this stuff. It reminds me a lot of Moonlight. I'm not saying I've not even watched Moonlight, but I've heard some of the stories, and that short feature that you put out there as well, promotional video, that covers some of the imagery in that. The video footage is of Moonlight. Yes. So we've already got a Moonlight. Why do we need another Moonlight? This is not a Moonlight. This is not about gay people. This is about transsexual. This is about someone who is fighting for his right. This is about the violence that transsexual face around the world, especially in developing countries. And the film is set in Jamaica and the UK, so especially in Jamaica. I mean, they're still killing gay people and transsexuals in Jamaica. I think the last murder might have happened a couple of years ago. So it's not a Moonlight. It's a story about a transsexual who wants the freedom to live as she is, and she wants to raise her son. And I wish I could tell you about the ending. The ending is amazing. But you can't, like you said, give it away. But it's not. It's definitely not a Moonlight. Yeah, and and why I ask that question, why create a Moonlight? Of course, I don't imagine it would be another Moonlight. I mean, I'm sure the genre was wide enough to come up with so many different ideas. But why I asked is because for me, it's more like, okay, shouldn't there be more? Why do we feel that there shouldn't be enough? Why can't we cover more of the subject? Why can't we have a better understanding of that subject anyway? And that's what it was more about for me. Right. Right. Okay. And I think as African people, and I use the term African, I'm a Pan-Africanist now, so I like to use the term over Black. As African people, we, especially diasporic African people, Africans from the Caribbean, from the UK, from America, We're very conservative, and we're very phobic. We're very homophobic. You know, I come from an extremely homophobic environment.
Well, I want to ask you.
Was very homophobic.
I've got questions to ask you about that later on. So yes, if you can hold back on that, I've got a few questions to ask you about that. Okay, so the LGBTQ community has become more prominent since BLM. Do you feel that Black people are better understanding their struggle?
No, that's an interesting question, because some Black people, some African people don't like to connect our struggle to the struggles of the LGBTQ community. And I understand their point. You know, you really can't wash off your Blackness. You really can't get an operation to change your Blackness. You know, you can't get surgery to remove your Africanness, like you can get surgery to change your sex. So I understand. Some people think, some Africans think it's a different kettle of fish completely. It's like comparing apples and airplanes. But at the end of the day, it's discrimination. And at the end of the day, it's prejudice. At the end of the day, it's hate above all things. It's hate. And, you know, I remember when I was staunchly homophobic coming out of Jamaica. You know, I left Jamaica when I was 15, and I grew up in the ghetto in Dunkirk, in Kingston, East Kingston, Kingston 16, where Batman for dead and born Batman. So, I mean, I grew up with that mentality. And I had a girlfriend in the 80s, 88. You know, she was half Italian and half Iranian. And her mother, her parents hated the idea of her being with me. You know, I'd hear her father on the phone all the time. Vai nigger, you're a beautiful girl. Vai nigger, I don't understand. And her mother's husband, her stepfather's father was a leader in the KKK. So they hated me, and they hated the fact that I was their daughter. And so she and I, my girlfriend and I, would get into these conversations about homosexuality. And she said to me, you know, what would you do if we had a son who was gay? And I, as a Jamaican, staunchly homophobic, said, not a bomber clot, no way, no, if we have a son like Batman, killing blood clot, him can't come in our house. And my ex-girlfriend at the time said to me, the exact sentiment you are expressing right now about our future imaginary son or hypothetical son is the same exact sentiment that my parents have toward you right now. And I thought about it. That shit stopped me, man, dead in my tracks. It's like, fuck. Yeah. And that changed me. I stopped being homophobic.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm just like, yeah, man, what do they do to me? What are they doing to me? I mean, if they want to find love with another man or another woman, how does that affect me, my life? Who cares? What's the big deal?
I find it incredibly brave for you as a straight man to highlight a subject that doesn't necessarily affect you. Why does this film mean so much to you?
Because of what I saw as a child, and because I grew up in this fundamentalist environment. You know, when I wrote the script in 98, 99, you know, it originated out of the things I saw, those two events I saw as a child, and B, my discard and my abhorrence for fundamentalism. Any kind of fundamentalism, Christian fundamentalism, Muslim fundamentalism, cultural fundamentalism, economic fundamentalism, any kind of fundamentalism, I discarded. And so I would ask my mother, you know, Mama, I'm your only child, you're one picnic, right? What would I do if me the Batman? And she would say, well, you can't come into my house. So the reason I had to get this out is because of the impact that those violent actions had on me as a child.
I grew up homophobic, so it's not just you. Obviously, it's one of those things, a cultural thing. You know,
Yes,
that's what
it's a cultural thing.
Yeah, and I had to unlearn a lot of that. But
Yeah,
why is there anti-gay sentiment in the Caribbean community? I mean, do you know where it really stems from? What's you know, it must be just not just religion.
I'm convinced that the profound anti-gay sentiment in Jamaica, especially, is religion based. Jamaica is profoundly Christian. You know, several years ago, I read an article from the Guinness World Book of Records, or Book of World Records, about that there are more churches in Jamaica per square mile than in any other country in the world, right? So, and Jamaica, the interpretation of the Bible in Jamaica is very conservative. It's very fundamentalist. You know, they're not open to any open-minded interpretation. It's, look, God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. That's what you hear, you know, the pastor saying all the time. So I think the basis of that unacceptance, that rejection, that hate, dislike, disdain for homosexuality in Jamaica, from other parts of the Caribbean too, is religion based.
Wow.
Yeah. Jamaica is a God-fearing place. And to them, you know, God and homosexuality are mutually exclusive.
But we don't find that, I don't think we have that same rejection, you know, of these, you know, these same-sex relationships, whatever, in any other parts of the world. Why is it only in the Caribbean? Why? I don't understand it. You know, even in Africa, you'll find that people are far more accepting and understanding.
No. Wherever there is Christianity, and wherever there is fundamentalist Christianity and fundamentalist Islam, you will find a strong rejection, a strong opposition to homosexuality.
Interesting.
Remember, Jamaica is very Christian. I mean, you know, I remember I had a business in Jamaica in 2005, shipping like used car parts from Japan to Jamaica. And when people found out that I was an atheist, right, they automatically equated that with homosexuality, you know. And
wow,
I overheard arguments, conversations about, you know, Stefhen, you should watch yourself because man, I plan for money up, man, I plan to beat you. So you should go back to Japan or whatever. So it's you know, Christianity, religion, and ignorance. You know, buggery is still on the books in Jamaica. It's still it's still punishable. It's a punishable offense. So
wow.
Which makes for good movie material. So,
absolutely. So how do we unlearn this? Well, I've talked about the fact that I unlearned it. I mean, I can explain for me. I unlearned it because my lecturer, there was a teacher at my school, and my teacher, you know, thankfully, when I was, you know, I was one of those kids. I was going to be expelled, and you know, long story, I'm not going into too much. But one of the teachers at the school, he came to my defense. He was a gay guy. He came to my defense, and he helped me. Without that teacher, I can assure you, I would have left school without any qualifications. So I have nothing but love for that guy for doing that for me. That made me understand, because I was walking into my classroom to sit down with this guy, knowing full well that everyone thought I was gay, you know. And I had to, so walking into that classroom and sitting with him and having those extra lessons, it meant, but you know what, it was like, give up your potential education, you know, and follow the other kids, or you know, move forward and make something of your life. As a result of that, my life changed, literally. Now I've got degrees as a result of that. I probably would have ended up without any education at all. So I have nothing but love for that community. And you know, and I found in the gay community, you know, that the people were so loving. I found them very open, stuff I couldn't find anywhere else. I found that relationships I have with people like that, just so much more honest. Do you understand me? So you know, it's like I'm missing out. So how do we unlearn that? I mean, I'm a straight guy, but you know, it's never been a problem for me since my experiences.
You know, oh man, how do you get to that kind of? Well, I had a lot of therapy. Just you know, address that. I started going to therapy when I was 22.
Wow.
Like a lot of therapy, a lot of cognitive behavioral therapy, you know, because therapy helps you with being okay with being vulnerable and just bawling your eyes off for like, because somebody hurt your feelings. Yeah. So in therapy, I learned to like not to be confident about myself and to not care if someone think me a bad man, fine. I mean, gay men, I used to live in West Hollywood, and gay men would come up to me and ask me out on dates, and therapy allowed me to see that as a compliment. I could say, you know, man love me, woman love me. Sorry. And dogs hump my legs, but you know, my choice is women, you know.
Yeah.
But thanks, you know, respect. And I had some gay friends at UCLA. I went to school at UCLA, and I had one particular gay friend who I had a motorcycle, and so I'd give him a ride home, and we'd go out, we'd hang out sometimes, and you're like, Stefhen, if you weren't straight, Lord have mercy. And I'm like, yeah. I get it. Thanks again for the
exactly.
compliment.
But you know, so but exactly. That's that. You make it. It makes perfect sense. Exactly. It's like if you. It seems like fear seems to have it seems to be the problem. There's a lot of fear. I think you know.
That's it. Right. Yeah. People think that you're just gonna get indoctrinated into being gay. You know, because there are times in my youth when I questioned my sexuality. I was like, wow, blood, I want to be the Batman. So I started renting like gay movies. I started renting gay movies, right? And I'm like, I'm gonna see if I'm gay. Now, so I remember renting a gay movie and just being completely repulsed. I'm like, no. And I'm thinking, okay, so why were you repulsed? Is it because you were socialized to be repulsed by this? I mean, are you suppressing something? Because I mean, the argument, there could be the argument that if you're repulsed, then you're suppressing your feelings. And I thought about it, and I forced myself to watch a good 10 minutes of this movie, right? Of this porn. And I realized, I didn't realize, I knew this, but it was like, no, it's not in me at all, whatsoever, at all. There's no, you know, even if I like the physique of a man, I like beauty. And I think beauty comes in males and females. Beauty is in everything, right? So, you know, bodybuilders, when they show off their bodies and their muscles, yeah, I think it's beautiful, but it doesn't get my dick hard, right? So I've analyze myself, look deep into myself. And I think that a lot of men have a fear that they're going to become gay. Gay people around them.
Okay.
They're going to be influenced into becoming gay. But the thing is that if you have a fear of being gay, it stands to reason that you have a propensity to be gay. It means that if you have a fear of being gay, it means that
absolutely.
You have the possibility. You have the gay gene. You are susceptible to being gay in the first place.
Maybe you're gay, so just deal with it.
But if you know you're not a Batman, if you know that you're not, exactly. But if I know I'm not gay, I can hang out with gay people, Stefhen, and I can hug them up, and I can live with them even.
Can I say something, Stefhen? 1 second. I know when you say the words "be man," I know you don't mean it. You know, you mean it as because obviously it's the language that black people have used in the past. So you clearly don't mean it now. I'm very much aware of that. So just to the listeners, please be aware. I know that Stefhen doesn't mean it in that way. He just is expressing how other people.
It's not meant to be offensive.
Yeah.
Right. This is absolutely not meant to be offensive. In fact,
you're using the vernacular. You're using the vernacular.
Yeah. I use it the way African Americans have sort of like reappropriated the word nigger, right? You know, nigger, they took the sting out of nigger. A lot of people are object to the use of that word, but the cleverness, the craftiness that African Americans employed to just reduce that word, to get the pain out of that word, it's the same way I'm using Batman right now, right? So no offense intended. But yeah, if a man is fearing being gay, that means that deep down inside, he might have some gay tendencies that he's not facing, you know? So, but no, man, no.
Yeah, I agree. But you know what? To close this, I just got to say it's phenomenal. You know, and I say that I like to use that word when I find things that are impressive. And for me, you stand on the shoulders, of giants, because what you're trying to do is very brave. You know, there is going to be a lot of people that are going to be against you making this film. So the fact that you're making it, I think it's phenomenal that you're pushing forward to do it. And I implore, viewers to help get this film off the ground, because it is a fantastic story. I've been privileged to read a lot of this story, and so I know it's a beautiful story, and I've been very supportive of it. So for years, so you've told me, you give me little snippets here and there, and I've been like, wow,
man,
wonderful.
Wanted
to see this come to fruition. So I implore everyone, please support it. Absolutely, the gay community, please come and support this, get behind this too. The Black community, get behind this, because I think it's something that we need to heal. We need to find our way through these issues, especially in the Caribbean. I think the Caribbean wants to heal just as much. I don't think there's anywhere in the world that doesn't want to get to the point where it's like, you know what, live and let live.
Yeah, let's be peaceful. Let's, if my neighbor is gay, big deal, man. We'll dine and we'll hang out, and it's not a big deal. It's not like a disease. It's not catching. You can't change your sexuality. It's something that, it's there are different theories, but the point is it's not contagious. You can't influence a gay person to become heterosexual, and a heterosexual can't, a homosexual can't influence you to become homosexual. So I mean, what I meant was a homosexual can't influence a heterosexual to be homosexual, and vice versa. It's just understand it, but it takes a lot. It takes a lot, because as open-minded as I am, I have to tell you, my mind is so open that my brain is falling out of the ground right now. My brain is on the floor. But I do get kind of squeamish when I do have some discomfort. And I have to be honest about that. Even though I'm making a film about transsexuals, the idea for me has some discomfort. It's like, oh my God, how could somebody do that? But then we have to understand the psychology behind that. Someone is born physically one sex, right, with a penis, but psychologically, the brain is processing hormones like the member of another sex. And so the discord comes about. And what we understand now is that your sex is not determined by your genitalia. Your sex is determined by how your brain processes hormones. Right. And if there is a disparity between the two, between how the brain processes hormones and the genitalia, you're gonna get someone who's gender dysmorphic. And they're not going to be happy, and they're not going to be content until the physical characteristics match the psychological characteristics. And people don't take the time to understand that complexity. It's really a complex situation. And making this film, writing this film from 20 years ago, I did so much research, and my mind was blown. I was like, because I used to just think, man, this is crazy. You're nuts. You want to have a sex change? You need to see a therapist. But it's far more complicated than that. It's more complicated than that. And once you can sympathize and empathize with these people, that's what we should be aiming to do. Empathize and sympathize, and just be receptive and accepting. They're not trying to tell you to have a sex change. They're not trying to tell you to cut off your penis and turn it into a vagina. No, they're just saying, look, this is what's happening in my brain, and don't discriminate against me because of that.
Of course,
I'm trying to impose my culture on you.
And Stefhen, and the thing for me, my view is this: if anybody should understand. That's why I know you talked about I was talked about the connection in BLM and you know, the LGBTQ movement.
Right.
You know, my thing is, you know, if anybody should understand what
it's Black people. We're
exactly
oppressed. Yes.
We should. So
Yes.
it's like, how can we be in a position where now we're in one form of position of power, wherever it may be, you know, and then we use that power to harm other people.
To oppress somebody else.
It's like, that to me makes no sense. If anyone should understand and have the love in their heart, it should be our nation, our people, whatever, you know.
Yes.
And I love everyone, all provinces of the world, black, white, and green, as far as I'm concerned. But I always say, if I'm talking about Black people, we got to be better. And that's why, you know, we need leaders. We need leaders like you. I talked about leaders. Who's going to lead people to show us the better way forward? You know, we have all these people that are leading us, but I don't feel that they're actually showing us the right way forward. It's like we've got people who are doing it because they want to make money. They want to be powerful. You know what I mean? They're doing it for all the wrong reasons. What you're doing is you're helping us. You're helping us heal. You're helping us move. You know, it's almost like this kind of evolution of ourselves. That's what
I'd like to think I am.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'd like to think that I am. I think I'd like to think that I am. You know,
well, it's been a process for you. You've gone through that
noble.
by yourself.
Yeah.
And if you can do it, we can do it. You know,
it's been a very noble task.
Especially after everyone should read your book, Black Passenger Yellow Cabs, and I'll understand. you know, the departure from there to this story. You know, you could have put in a part 2. You know.
Right.
So you know.
Right. Oh man, you've got it there.
Yeah.
You got it. Dread. Come on, man. Come on, son.
Absolutely, I've got it there. You didn't sign it when I went to America. You didn't sign it for me, man. You know, I didn't sign this thing. When I went to Jamaica, I've got I've got all these little things. Look, I've written it. I've done my little points in it. I've used it. You know, I've used it for my exams, whatever, essays, everything.
Brethren, big respect, big respect,
man,
big respect. I can't really, you know. I appreciate you, man.
Can you please do me a favor and give a link? Let us have a link. You know, let everyone know where they can find you and everything else and find it more.
Well, okay, so this is where the film is right now. This is where the film is right now. Yeah, we're gonna do a Kickstart. We're gonna launch a Kickstarter program, a campaign in January. This is what December. We're in November now. In February. So what we're doing right now is the pre-launch to the Kickstarter campaign to get the word out about the Kickstarter campaign. Yeah. So Kimama Production. So if you go to Facebook, the Facebook page is Kimama Productions. Shoot us an email at info@kimamaproductions to get your name on the email list, because we send out status reports and every 2 weeks, every 2-3 weeks, and new information about the director and the images that we're going to be using and the storyboarding and all that kind of stuff, and any developmental information. I have an email blast every couple of weeks. So head to Facebook, go to Kimama Productions. Kimama Productions is my production company. The name of the film is River Mama, and it's going to be directed by Arun Vir. Arun Vir is a Nichols Fellowship writer who's gonna. She's done some short films before, but when we do the feature, that's going to be her debut for feature-length films. So info@kimamaproductions.com, KIMAMA productions.com, to get on the email list. And barring that, you can go to Facebook, the Kimama Productions page, and sign up. And then we'll get you some information about the Kickstarter campaign, which should be on in January, February. We're thinking late January. And I think the Kickstarter campaign is going to run for like a month. So we hope to start shooting this thing by the summer of next year. Yeah, by fantastic June. But thanks. I can't thank you enough, man. But dude, seriously. I mean, brethren, you came to. I'm moved by this. You came to America to watch my play. No, I'm laughing because I'm trying to keep from crying. I'm laughing because, you know, really, I'm trying to.
That's how I show love, my brother. That's how I show love.
Cry.
Yes, I look out. That's how I support people.
No. Fred, that is, you know, I just wanted to. After you did that, man, I just wanted to like retire. I was like, you know what, man, this is just profound. This is moving. I think this is it. I think this is the pinnacle. A man fly from England, like thousands of miles to come and watch me perform. That's unbelievable. I still
but man, I was moved. Man, I was moved by the play. I loved it. And I understood. You know, for me, it meant so much. You know, I understood what it was trying to. For me, it was the evolution. It was the evolution of us as people. You know, to be able to express ourselves in that way, and you to be able to do it based on what I read of your book before. It was a departure. So, you know, I was very impressed, and I wanted to support that. Keep up the great work, my brother.
Yeah. I think we need to tell our stories, man. I think more of us need to be able to feel like we can tell our stories. Because I mean, they're not going to tell our stories, right? They're not telling for them story them not have time to tell our story. They keep telling us that our story is not marketable, or nobody's going to come watch our stories. And it's fuck for that. I lie to my tail, right? So we need to just ignore that and just tell our stories, you know? So for you to support it like that, man, it's moving. It's moving. And thanks for the continuous support of a decade now. Yeah, you know.
Rock and roll, my
so I'm gonna make this. But I'm gonna make this film, man. I'm gonna make this film. I've kept it for 20 years. I've rewritten it maybe like 70 something times.
Wow.
And I've kept the authenticity of it. I didn't water it down. It only got better actually with each rewrite. And with my director Arun Vir, I mean, you know, the touches that she's added to it, amazing work. Let me say this now. I'm expecting an Oscar.
Wow.
So, as you know, I'm not prolific in my work. I'm kind of like you know. When I do something, I don't want to be prolific. I want something to be profound. You do. Your music is profound. But you don't make music every week, every month.
I can make music
can.
every month. I just don't put it out.
Right. But your stuff is anything that comes out of your mouth or from your hands and from your studios, from them speaking behind you, is just profound.
Thank you.
You know, and that's what I aim to be. You know, if I have a project once every 5 years, as long as people are moved, I've accomplished what I set out to accomplish. But keep doing your thing. You know, I wish you'd be more prolific, but you know, I wish you'd produce more music because I keep, man. But I'm waiting. So
it's not about me, man. It's not about me. This is my. It's not about me at the moment. It's not about me. This isn't the time for me right now. It's for me to do more for people, and that's what I'm working on. That's what I love. The position I love the role that I have here at Clusterview, because I can be there to help other people, get other people's stuff out there, you know. And that's why I get my joy. So let me get this out to the world, everyone. Let's get this out to the world. Everyone watch this video. All right. So I'm going to end it here, Stefhen, my brother, Stefhen Bryan.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Thank you. Big respect.
Right, man.
Yes,
Have
man.
a great night.
All right.